Hey dreamers, Bryce here from Midnight Notion, singer-songwriter, musician, big fan of Metallica, but I have no idea what my favorite Metallica song is. Could it be Saint Anger? Let's use math to find out. Cue the intro.
So Ted, give it to me now!
For the best Metallica song! Saint Anger, track number 2 off of Saint Anger. And remember, we're being positive on this channel. It's a positive channel. If you want to give a critique of something, you got to keep it positive and give a next step. So, Saint Anger disclaimer. We know about the snare. We don't have to talk about the snare. I know you hate it. Let's grade the songs fairly. We're going to listen to it, you and me, as best friends. I'm going to stop it. I'm going to blah, blah, blah anytime I hear something interesting. And then I'm going to grade it fairly using the following criteria. Composition, memorability, emotional response, instrumentation, and lyrics. All together, the grand total possible is 20 points, and we'll find out if this song has what it takes at the end to get to the top 20. Make sure you hit that subscribe button because it's positive here, and subscribing is positive. It's also free. All right, let's listen to this stupid song. Whoops, spoiler alert. You know, the riff is cool enough, right? It's a chromatic riff. There's a lot of 0, 1, 2. You know, it's going half steps each time. It's moving in a way that's very similar to Master of Puppets. It's fast. It's all down picking. You can kind of take some of that movement. It's very similar movement on the guitar. The drums come in here. It's just the toms. I don't know. The count seems off to me. I'm going to rewind it just a little bit. The count gets off here because what we're doing is we're going to have ba-da-da, ba-da-da, ba-da-da. We do that 4 times, and then 2 times, and then 2 times, and then 4 times. By stretching out that da-da-da-da-da-da, by emphasizing it, having those extra 2. You're doing it 2 more times, but it's 3 notes, so it's extending it a little bit. It makes the meter off. I haven't counted out to see exactly what that adds up to, but we're adding a few beats to the meter. It keeps it interesting. So those listening at home, when we're talking about composition, this is interesting. We got a main riff, we got some toms behind it, we're extending it with these emphasized hits, and then we go back into the big full band version. Okay, so we got the same riff, again, same riff, but now we have all guitars, all basses, and we have the drums going straight. Boom, cha, boom, cha, boom, cha, boom, cha. Now we're going to do the same riff again, but this time the drums are going to go into the thrash beat. Bop, 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 bop. And he's going to be doing double kick pedal. I love those stops. Pop, 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 pop. If you're talking about hooks, this is one of the many hooks of this song. Bam, 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 bam. We'll hear it throughout the tune. It's really cool. It's calling back to the intro already, and now we're going into the verse. In my opinion, this change-up is strange. I don't like it. I don't think it fits with the song. It feels Frankenstein-y. For those of you who haven't been following this entire journey, Metallica has a tendency to write their songs by recording just riffs, and then they give the riff a number, right? They just record individual riffs. Just while they're out on tour, they might come up with something, they record it, give it a number, put it in the archives. Then when it comes time to actually release an album, they go through these archives of riffs and they go, okay, let's take 167 and put it next to 293 and see if that works. That's what I feel in this song. We have a really cool thrashy riff. Even if you tune these guitars up to standard tuning or even half step down like they normally do live, it would be a cool thrash riff. It would be very similar to their old stuff from where they came. This next riff, I don't know where it came from. I don't know what the idea was. I know that they have a lot of songs that go between distortion and clean, but this is so far different from that main riff that it sounds like an entirely different song. Now, the record is called Saint Anger. They're trying to achieve kind of a garage band feel, and they're trying to embody anger and rage in the songs. So if this transition makes you angry, maybe that's intentional, but does that make it a favorite listenable song? In my opinion, this change really screws it up.
Saint anger round my neck. Saint anger round my neck. He never gets respect.
Now, did I say it's a bad riff? No, I'm just saying the transition doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't feel like the same song. From this point through the choruses, it feels like the same song, but then the main riff doesn't fit the same. So we've had about a minute or so of the same riff over and over and over, and then a brick wall stop. There's not even really a cymbal. I guess he hits a splash cymbal, but it's really not a good, it's just a blop. Now we're in clean. And it's so abrupt and so just, it doesn't feel right. I don't know. It sounds great on its own. I wish it was a different song.
Saint anger round my neck. You flush it out. You flush it out. Saint anger round my neck. You flush it out. You flush it out. He never gets respect. You flush it.
So there's really a lot of really cool stuff going on here. The one guitar, I think it's Kirk, is going way up. And it almost sounds like a violin. It's played in a very interesting way. They're all playing pretty fast. I think they're doing 16th or 32nd notes. Really fast strumming styles. But there's something about the way that that lead plays that feels very violin-y. And the beat is pretty, boom, pa, boom, boom, kaboom. He's just washing on the hi-hats. Got that sort of train feel. The flush it out, really aggressive, really like a great release. For the audience, this would be a great moment. Flush it out, Saint anger around mine. Flush it out. That would be great to chant. So far, this whole section, perfectly fine.
You flush it out. Saint anger round my neck. You flush it out. You flush it out. He never gets respect. Fuck it all and no regrets. I hit the lights on these dark sets.
Little reference to Damage Inc. there. It's the same lyrics from Damage Inc., or very similar anyway. We have the same guitar riff again, but this time the drums are going double speed, that thrash beat again. So note in this song, once again, just like Frantic from yesterday, the savior is Lars. Now, in my opinion, this song is way too long, because so far we've heard the main riff, and then we've got the clean riff during the verse, and then we've got whatever this is as a pre-chorus and a chorus. It's like several layers, like the second half of the verse and the pre-chorus and the chorus, and it's doing a lot of work. But those are really the only riffs in the entire song. We've reached a point at 1 minute and 52 seconds into an 8-minute song. We've already heard all of the guitar parts that we're gonna hear. And that to me is really, really disappointing, especially from Metallica. It's disappointing.
I need a voice to let myself go free. Fuck it all, fucking no regrets. I hit the lights on these dark sets. Medallion news, I hang myself. Saint anger around my neck. I feel my world shake like an earthquake. Hard to see clear. Is it me? Is it fear?
I think what would help that part, this whole feel my world shake part, is if we switched up the rhythm a little bit. Maybe we go back to like a Four Horsemen kind of, you know, maybe take the drums to a more straight beat. Feel my world shake. Cha boom cha boom cha boom cha, and then come back to the thrash part for the Madly in Anger with You. I think that would switch up the song. I think it would keep it interesting. It would make it less repetitive. But right now, we've been sitting on this same da, 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 3-chord progression for it seems like an eternity. We're only 2 minutes 19 seconds into the song, and I'm already like, come on, guys.
Madly in anger with you. I'm madly in anger with you. I'm madly in anger with you. I'm madly in anger with
Okay, I love the stop, right? Full stop, back to what sounds like the riff from the intro, but it's only one time through the riff, and then we're going back to the straight beat. Love that. That's a great way to transition from chorus to main riff. But again, I just wish the transition out of this riff to the verse was less brick wally. Also, another thing worth noting, we're back to the verse, but it's the exact same verse. It's literally copy pasted. As a matter of fact, I haven't done this yet. I want to know if this is literally copy pasted, because all of the instruments are exactly the same. All of the lyrics are exactly the same. Is his vocal performance exactly the same as well? Is it literally a copy paste? To me, this is a problem. When we go back to songs like Nothing Else Matters, he does 7 verses, but there's only 3 verses in the lyrics. However, each time a verse repeats later on, it's performed differently. There's new harmonies, there's a different movement, there's a different vocalization. This feels, to me, like a copy paste. That is not songwriting. That is engineering. That's like putting a puzzle together. And I don't want to listen to a puzzle. I want to listen to a song. Something interesting about the mix of this song. We're not grading any of these songs on the mix, but something about the over compression and just absolute brick wall compression that they have on this entire record. The guitars are like, they're taking over, but they're also wimpy, right? They're like thick, but they're not even there. It's weird to explain, but you can't really hear the cymbals at all. You can hear them, but like when he goes to the ride, it's almost non-existent. It's almost just like a in the background. But then I can hear some like automation, right? They're riding the faders a little bit harder on the emphasized crash hits. So when he's doing his thrashy beat, he's doing boop bop 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 boop bop bop bop, and every time he comes down on the kick for those emphasized ones, the kick and the crash cymbal are way louder at that point, and then they come back down, and then they boom, boom, boom. You can hear it.
You flush it out. It's anger around my neck. You flush it out. You flush it out. He never gets respect.
This is the only thing that's different about verse 2 is the ooh. It's so weird because they're playing fast. They are strumming do 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 do, but like it almost sounds like they're holding the note out. They're just going because it's so hollow, it's so empty. There's all that middle is gone. I mean, I guess it's more the low end. We don't hear any bass in this entire record. I would go on to say that this song has less bass than Justice, but who knows? It's so just bleh. And note, this isn't a knock on the snare drum. This isn't a knock on, the grungy aggressiveness of the record. This is straight up just a songwriting critique. I don't like that they're just copy pasting the same thing over for 8 minutes. It's just frustrating.
No regrets, I hit the lights on these dark steps. Medallion news, I hang myself, St. Anger around my neck. I feel my world shake like an earthquake. Hard to see clear. Is it me? Is it fear? I'm madly in anger with you. I'm madly in anger with you. I'm madly in anger with you. I'm madly in anger with you.
Okay, we're back to the intro again. I do have to say I love the aggression in James's voice. I think they've really captured the anger, the frustration, the rage that this band was going through. Madly in anger. He's really just letting it all out. I can just imagine his voice is probably blown after every single recording session because it's just raw and gritty and just ugh. Because of the style of recording, because they're not super focused on hitting the right notes. So he gets a little flat a couple of times, maybe sharp. I'm not measuring exactly which way he is, but he's not quite getting perfect on the grid. If you were to map out the notes on a grid, he's just a little bit off. So when he does these harmonies, they're also off, and it just that just adds to the I don't know if it's supposed to be intended dissonance or what, but I feel like this record would almost do better without harmonies, or at least this song, because when I hear hard to see clear, is it me, is it fair, it doesn't add, it actually subtracts for me, so that's a bummer. We have almost a copy paste of the intro. Let's listen. 3 times. The only difference here is instead of the stop and then the drums and then coming back in, we just go straight. But we're going to have the same pattern, 4, 2, 2, 4 for the emphasized hits. But either way, it's almost exactly the same. We're now 5 minutes and 14 seconds into it. I guess the song's only 7:20, but even still, gosh, is it ever going to end? You know, it's nice to have a different verse in here, but it would be nice to have a different guitar part, because still we've only had 3 guitar parts. We're at the bridge, for crying out loud. Switch it up. Give us something new. Do a different variation. Climb to the 2. Climb to the 4. Climb to any other chord. Just do something different. I'm so bored of the same riff over and over and over and over. You know, there's a riff in Purify that would go really great right here. That would spice it up a little bit, but anything different. Give us a different pattern. Maybe go straight, maybe go halftime, maybe just anything, but the same thing over and over. We've been here before. Even though we got a couple of new lyrics, it's not really interesting.
And I need my anger not to control. Yeah, and I want my anger to be me. And I need to set my anger free. And I need to set my anger free.
Hey James, what are you looking for? What do you need?
And I need to set my anger free.
Do you need anything else?
And I need to set my anger free.
Okay, I guess I will grant you your wish. I'm going to set your anger free.
Set it free.
There was a nice distortion on there. Sometimes when you're recording vocals, obviously when you're recording vocals or any instrument in the studio, you want to make sure you have a proper level, that when you're singing, you're not singing until the board is distorting, because the distorted sound is going to affect the quality of the output. But sometimes you use that distortion appropriately, you can actually get a good effect out of it. So this sounds like they distorted his voice sometime when he says, set it free. The free has like a distortion to it. I don't know if they did it into the board or if they did it afterward, but it's a nice effect. This would be a great spot for a solo, but no solo. Same riff.
Fuck it all and no regret.
You know, that's another thing. Throwback to that main, the bam, bam, bam. There's the 3 hits, right? The bam, 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 or 4, I guess. When they do that, it's like triplets. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Not triplets officially, but you know what I'm saying. There's that, but then there's the pre-chorus bit where there's ba 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 bum ba bum, and I wish that they would pick one or the other, because like it'd be nice to hear a ba bum ba bum, fuck it all and no regret. You know, like either one works here, but I like the ba bum bum bum. I think I like that one better, even though it doesn't fit with the main riff. But the main riff doesn't fit with the song, so who the hell cares?
On these dark sets, I need a voice to let myself go free. Fuck it all, fucking no regrets. I hit the lights on these dark sets. Medallion news, I hang myself, saying anger around my neck.
It's really so apparent, that kick drum. He's playing it throughout. He's doing like a puka, 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 but you like can barely hear it. But then on those ones, pa. It's so loud.
I feel my world shake like an earthquake. Hard to see clear. Is it me? Is it fear? I'm madly in anger with you. I'm madly in anger with you. I'm madly in anger with you. I'm madly in anger with you.
Double it up.
I'm madly in anger with you.
Double kick it down.
I'm madly in anger with you. I'm madly in anger with you. I'm madly in anger with you.
I like that ending too, because not much happened there. It's just the cymbal. I think it was a China, and then just the bass, blomp, and it just kind of dies out. It doesn't really have a full ending to it. So I don't know. Nice ending. I am so glad that song is done. Let's give it some points. Whoosh. Composition. This song is probably one of Metallica's worst compositionally, because as I said, we have 3 guitar parts. You could argue for 4, you could maybe argue for 5, but realistically, main riff, verse, and then that chord progression that ends up being the rest of the song. That's pretty much it for the entire song. 7 minutes and 20 seconds with only 3 riffs is absolutely abysmal. We have the intro copy pasted as the bridge. We have verse 1 copy pasted as verse 2, and the chorus copy pasted as all of the choruses. And the only real change is what you want to do with my anger. What I want to do with my anger, and the lyrics towards the bridge section. But the song just goes on and does not share anything new with us past about a minute in. So that is really, really frustrating. I do appreciate the time signature changes. We have a few emphasis points that you know, we extend that a couple of times, but that, unfortunately, because of the length of the song and the overdone repetition, that actually doesn't bring it up at all. For me, compositionally, and don't take me wrong, this isn't some angry guy on the internet. I love this band and I love this record, but this composition is so far below everything else they've ever written that I can't give it any points. Compositionally, it's a 0. Memorability. They do some things in this song to make it memorable. One of those things being repeating the same 3 riffs for 7 minutes and 20 seconds. That's one way to do it. They also say I'm madly in anger with you multiple times, and sane anger around my neck being repeated throughout the song. All of those lines come over and over and over again. The repetition does make it very, very memorable. So in that sense, they've done a good job. It also sounds different from the rest of their catalog. We've already heard Frantic, so it's starting to kind of blend in. Obviously, if we're going in order, we're starting to notice a pattern, but ultimately, it's pretty memorable. So I have to be honest, from a memorability standpoint, this does get a 4. Emotional response. I made a promise. If I ever wanted a song to be done before it was done, I would not give it very many points. And you saw it. I was only about a minute in and I already hated it. I admit that I came in with bias because I already know the song. I do want you all to know that this is actually the first Metallica record I bought. I was late to the Metallica fan club and I had other records purchased for me. And so I did have their entire catalog before I got to this record, but I actually bought this, was so excited. I listened as a high schooler. I was really into the record when it first came out. I've sat with it. I am one of the few who will raise this record up and say that there is plenty of great stuff in there. So make sure you stay tuned on this journey because I'm going to point out that great stuff as we go. But this specific song, the title track, does not do it for me at all. Emotional response, 0. Instrumentation. Once again, I can't emphasize this enough. There are 3 guitar parts. The only savior of the song is Lars by changing up the rhythm by going straight and then going double time with double kick pedal, taking out the double kick, bringing it back. He's got the emphasis. He goes to the toms at one point. He's on the crash. He's on the hi-hat. He's all over the place. But even Lars doesn't change very often in this song. It feels copy-pasted. This song needs to be about 4 or 5 minutes shorter. I think that they could have made an excellent song with maybe 3-4 minutes of material. They didn't need to repeat everything so many times. So instrumentally, they've really failed themselves. No solos, no strange effects, no interesting play styles, just a basic blah mess. So instrumentally, that is a 1. Lyrics. There are some good things in these lyrics, and I think you have to dive a little bit deeper. I once was researching it long ago, and I saw someone comparing the medallion noose to the chips or the coins that you get from Alcoholics Anonymous, where after you've passed a certain amount of days, you might get a coin or some sort of medallion you won. But this prize of succeeding past your addiction is hung around your neck, and it's like a noose, and that's kind of that's a really unfortunate thing. There's a lot of sane anger around my neck. All right, so this chip is a reminder of how upset, how frustrated, how angry I can be. And the anger is weighing me down. It's choking me to death. And I'm madly in anger with you. And is you the mirror, or is it somebody else, or is it just the world? Whatever it is, there's some maybe deeper level stuff in here. You try to flush it out, but it's kind of, you need to respect that anger. You need to let it out in a healthier way rather than on someone else. That's one of the reasons why I play music. I've had a lot of frustrating moments in my life. I was born and raised by a single mother. I didn't have a father figure, so I kind of went through some stuff in high school that I didn't know how to get out. I turned to music, and it's a great way to do it. So there's a lot of positivity in the message. However, I'm going to knock them points because I do not appreciate copy pasting verse 1 as verse 2. I don't think it's saying enough. I don't think it's really getting out the message it needs to get out. And when you get to that bridge, it feels kind of sloppy and the chorus is long, and it doesn't really do it for me. So lyrically, that's a 1. And so, Saint Anger gets a grand total of 6 points, which is way not enough for the top 20. It is currently in 71st place out of 79. very, very low on the list of songs. I know there's some of you who love the song. I know that Metallica themselves has been pretty happy to play the song. When they played it on request, they thanked the audience for requesting that song. So it does have meaning to plenty of people, but for me, it just needs a little bit of work to make it feel like a more, I don't know, listenable song. Let's take a look at this top 20. One is still hanging out at the top. 20th place, we still got a three-way tie on the Reload songs. Plenty of other great songs on this, so I hope you're not too mad at me for not including Saint Anger, but the math say it's so. So now it's your turn. Use the same math. Use my method in the comments below. Tell me what score you would give Saint Anger, and be honest, be positive, give actual critique, right? I'm not just yelling at the song. I'm actually telling you from a place of, I write songs, I recognize how song structure should potentially work. Obviously, I don't know everything, so I am flawed. I'm not going to have the same score as you. I want to know what your score is. Make sure you check out Midnight Notion. My music is available all over the internet, and I do have a cover of The Unnamed Feeling right here on this channel. Go check it out. I changed some things and I added a solo, and I fixed that drum that we don't talk about. And of course, hit that subscribe button, because tomorrow we're going to talk to some kind of monster. I'll see you there. Thanks for watching.